Dead man's gold. Sorry if you thought I was going to sleep without sharing my exciting news. I just had to be sure my parents are in bed. They are. I've made 2 fake toilet trips to double-check. Well, I can't have my second stay-awake doodle diary, spelling strotter, confiscated on its very first day of existence, can I? I'll have to be brief, though. It's already 10:30 p.m. Basically, as Mum and I walked Mr. Paws after school today, we saw a little old woman drop to her knees and grope around the base of a poo bin with her bare hands. As that's not the usual way people around here pick up their dog's business, and because Mum's a trained first aider, we dashed over to check she was okay. She wasn't. However, it wasn't Mum's life-saving skills she needed, it was mine. She'd dropped her house keys while removing a poo bag from her pocket, you see. And my metal detector turned out to be miles more useful than the mini first aid kit my mum insists on carrying in her pocket every time we leave the house. The woman's name was Gracie Seagull. She smelled of lavender and had the loudest, poshest voice I'd ever heard. "Oh, lovey!" she boomed when I reunited her with her keys. "Thank you ever so much. You're a real lifesaver." Then she gave me 50p. I'm not exactly sure whether this was a reward for saving her life or for finding her keys. Either way, it means I'm now only 26p off from being able to afford the limited edition bumper pack of chocolate custard creams Mum refused to let me put in our trolley last week, which I downright disagree will just be bourbons with a fancy name and a hefty price tag. Anyway, after that, we chatted about our dogs who, as Gracie Seagull said, appeared to have fallen in love at first bum sniff. Honestly, for an old woman, she was extra funny. She reminded me of my great-nan. I mean, she didn't do thunderous trumps or show me her false teeth or anything. But she was equally enthusiastic about engaging in a full body scan. I went straight in for the kill, aiming my metal detector at her hip, and suspected I'd hit the jackpot when I heard a faint bleep. I was spot on. Gracie dug deep into her coat pocket and offered me a mint. It's my new party trick. Old people always have a cylinder of sweet treats secreted about their person, and 9 times out of 10, they're wrapped in foil. Astonished by the power of my metal detector, Gracie asked me whether I'd ever found anything valuable. When I mentioned gold, not a lie, I located the back of a gold earring last week. Her beady eyes lit up. Gathering her little dog close to her face, she proceeded to tell us a long story about her late husband who, many years ago, lost his valuable gold wedding ring while weeding their garden. And by late, by the way, she meant dead, which I rather wish she'd made clear at the start of her tale. I mean, how was I to know? I thought she was crying because her husband never arrived at parties on time. Maybe you should call him careless instead of late. Anyway, when I mentioned how we'd love to see if my metal detector was up to the job of finding the late ring, Gracie Seagull gave Mum her phone number and said if we ever fancied a challenge, she'd be delighted to see us again. Although I don't fancy your chances after 15 years. So there you go. I'm in no way exaggerating when I say I've been invited to search for dead man's gold. P.S. I've just read what I've written about Gracie Seagull. If helping old people find lost gold, which I might be able to borrow for Treasure Club, is not a fair explanation of why owning a metal detector is completely awesome, I don't know what would be. Maybe I'll be okay peeing without Elliot's help on Friday. Yay!